Howdy, howdy. Happy Monday. Welcome back to the HPP with your man, ABC. That is me, Adam Benjamin Coleman, at the Human Performance Project. Happy Monday, as I said. We're going to do something new and exciting today. We're going to have a Bible study. Well, it's actually not really going to be a study because you can't talk back and interact with me, but I am going to delve into a part of my performance pie chart that I always talk about in terms of the balance of your life that we don't discuss much, and that is faith, spirituality, call it what you will. For my purpose, my higher power is God. Okay, I believe in Jesus Christ. That's just me. Doesn't matter what yours is, but I do recommend that you find yours, your higher power, something that is greater than you, that you can take your problems, concerns, accomplishments, and joys even, to someone that you have to talk to in the hardest times when you get knocked on your ass by problems that are bigger than you. Because you'll find some in life. You'll find some. So think back. What's the earliest memory that you have? What can you remember about trust from the first time? Trust and depending on those that you love. Trusting that they're going to be there for you. When we are born, we cry, and someone comes and comforts us and feeds us. And that is reinforced. We then trust that these people that come every time I cry are going to take care of me, right? Pretty easy when you're a wee one. I wish things stayed that simple. No, not really, because I wouldn't want someone to have to wipe my butt for me still. But I digress. Unfortunately, not all children are lucky enough to have the cookie cutter, two-parent, well taken care of, building blocks in a dog childhood, I guess. And some of us, like me, have a beaver cleaver childhood and just actively say, you guys, and run straight to the other side of the tracks at about age 11, 12, somewhere in there. I don't know why. Well, kind of, but we'll get to that at some point. I was born and raised in a Catholic household, Catholic Christian, and put in, Catholic Christian schools for most of my life until high school. And I knew a lot of stuff about God intellectually, but I didn't know God personally. I had no personal relationship. What I mean by personal relationship, like, what does God look like to you? I don't know about you, but my God is not an old white dude in the clouds with a beard. My God is a little scruffy. He doesn't care that piercings and tattoos are so common. He doesn't get mad at me for cussing. And he still has all of the goodness, grace, and benevolence of any other God. So there you go. Some people use nature. Some people use the universe. Some people use inanimate objects. But just something greater than you is really all you're going for. So as you start to grow and you go through childhood and whatnot, the whole trust thing starts to actually become a reality because you now have friends, once you're in little grade school and stuff, and you sometimes have secrets that you share with your friends, and sometimes your friends share your secrets, and it hurts when the first time you get betrayed by a friend or somebody that you really thought that was your ride or die that you could count on, And there's a whole other video we could make on the psychology of why people feel the need to do that, but we're not going there. Sorry, squirrel. As you get older and you build more and more of a friendship and a little circle for yourself and get into the preteen years and junior high years, we're still pretty well, for the most part, normally and taken care of in a typical situation, right? You're not having to worry about buying your own clothes and everything yet, and you're not having to worry about really much of anything other than just getting good grades and getting your butt to and from school and not getting any trouble on the way, right? Which is harder than it sounds sometimes, I know, but still, I would kill to have life be that simple again, especially financially. But it's, again, I know it's not that simple for everyone, and if it wasn't for you, I truly am sorry. If you were one that had to take care of siblings or your parent even, just know that God picks his strongest soldiers for the toughest battles, and we're supposed to trust in him with all of our heart and not lean on our own human understanding, according to Proverbs 3:5, I believe it is. We're also called to be strong and courageous and to not be afraid or discouraged. That's Joshua 1:9. So knowing that, we can kind of see that God has known that we're going to be tested, because that's all these things are. When your friends let you down, when your family let you down, when you get hurt somehow, or disappointed somehow, it's a test. How are you going to deal with it? You can either A, retaliate, B, be the bigger person and kind of forgive them, or C, shut yourself down completely, never trust anyone again, and just be the weird kid in the corner that doesn't talk to anyone. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend C. Be the bigger person. If people harm you, it's because there's something that they're upset with within themselves. I didn't know that then, and obviously most kids at that age will not, but it is a reality. It's going to happen. People are going to hurt your feelings or try to. And then as we go deeper into childhood and teenage years and everything, those friends, you guys become tight. You share a lot of things. A lot of stuff happens in high school. I have the blessing of having an 18-year-old daughter that just graduated. And I listen to her with some of the problems that she brings to me from high school, and I'm just blown away. You know what I mean? Like, we're not that far apart in age. I'm 38, she's 18. When I was in high school, I don't remember it being like that. I don't know. But it's changed a lot. The world has changed a lot, and it's going to continue to change. It will never be exactly as it is right now. It's always going to be changing. So, keep that in mind. We got to learn to better suit ourselves to live in the world. The world isn't going to change to help us out at all, unfortunately. So now you're getting into, middle teen years in high school and everything, and your situation is a little more serious now. What I mean by that is, who you hang out with is going to have a bigger impact on your future, your immediate future. What you do and what your lifestyle is like is going to have a larger impact on your immediate future, and your health, maybe even long term. Because at this point, let's say you're 15, 16 years old. If you start implementing healthy, positive habits now, man, the world is going to be yours, because it's pretty easy to develop a habit. It's much more difficult to break and retrain yourself from a habit. Trust me. So, as you go through high school and everything, you find what you think is your identity. You find solace in the fact that you're the captain of the football team, or head of the debate team, or, whatever it is, whatever extracurricular that you were passionate about. Hopefully there was something, or maybe it's something outside of school, but still, hopefully there was something that, you had a network of people that you could kind of commune with and talk with. And again, if you did not, and your childhood was miserable, I'm sorry. This video is not meant to make anyone feel lesser or more than, and it is not to solve anyone's problems or create problems for anyone. I'm not advocating that you become a religious nut. I'm not even advocating religion. I'm not advocating anything. This is all just for me sharing my personal experience to hopefully save someone else some time, or at least let them know that they're not alone and other people think about this shit. So, amino acids. So, now that you're out of high school, you have the choice. Are you going to college, or are you going to the workforce? Then, usually, if we're going on like the typical timeline, you meet someone, you settle down, get serious, get a place, maybe have a kid, get another car, la-di-da-di-da. A lot of stuff can happen in that time period between graduating high school and all the things that I described. Addictive behaviors can set in. Emotional and behavioral problems can creep up, like personality disorders. All sorts of things can start to really make life a whole lot more fun, right? And then, let's say you do the whole marriage thing and you rack up a bunch of debt trying to start a business or getting a house that you have no business getting because you can't afford it. Or let's say you went to medical school, or let's say you just went to college and got a master's degree in, I don't know, literature or something like that, arts, something the world doesn't appreciate anymore. And so now you have, over $70,000 in debt and a master's degree that you can't get a job with or do anything with. Oops. So now there's all these stressors that are placed on you all of a sudden: financial, marital, scholastic, career. There's a whole bunch of different things biting for your attention, and it's pretty easy to get lost in that or depend on something else to get through that and think that, you've got it going on, you're gonna be fine, and that there's really no need for any help of any kind. Other things can happen in the married life down the road as you go. I don't know about you guys, but my life changed real quick from when I got pregnant and married and had a baby and all that stuff, because I did it in the way wrong order and pretty much all at the same time. I was a freshman in college, having a baby, gonna get married, and we did, but she was like 8.5 months pregnant. 8, but still. It just wham, bam, 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 bam. Everything accelerated so quickly. And, I already had a budding alcohol problem. I didn't think I did. I just thought I partied a lot. Other people knew better. But anyway, there were all these pretty serious things creeping up. And then I did not trust that I was able to share something with my wife, so I didn't. And it cost me. It was not cool. No, I didn't cheat on her. No, I didn't hit her. I did steroids and I lied to her about it. There, you happy? Anyway, she found them. She was super upset. I think probably more so that I was dishonest with her, as she should have been. And so I got to come home to an empty house. And that's when I started aggressively drinking. And that's when my alcoholism really took off. And so now I'm 22 with a DUI, a child that I'm having to fight to see and pay to see, and an alcohol problem. Oh yeah, and dropped out of school. So 2 years time, we'll give it. A lot happens, okay? I did not have a power greater than myself. I became very angry. I became very resentful. I became very withdrawn. And most days became very drunk. And it was not a fun way to live. It was not a fun way to live. My quality of life, my joy in life, my hope for the future, everything just down the drain, I truly believe that I could have saved myself a lot of time and done things a lot differently if I had the connection with God that I do now. I didn't know, or didn't think I knew, didn't think I had anywhere to go with certain things, and so I internalize them and they end up going very badly. I don't know if you can remember exactly where things turned for you in your life, or if they did. Hopefully not, but there is going to come a time in your life that you will run into a problem that's bigger than you, and it's going to knock you on your ass. So again, having that source of power that's greater than you will help you get back up. It's necessary because, hopefully you have a good network of loved ones, because it is necessary, mandatory, whatever adjective you want to use. But when I was going through my divorce and everything, I needed some people, man. I really needed some friends and family. And, I didn't have any family in that town. And I did have a few friends that, their family. Family can take a lot of different forms. It doesn't have to be bloodline. Love and loyalty is all it really takes. So, a lot of good people up there that helped me. Just, get an apartment, get a place to live, just figure out how to get up out of bed and just keep living. That's what it took at first. It was really tough, and it didn't need to be that tough. I just didn't know who to trust, and I didn't know how to trust. I didn't know who to ask the questions to. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what I was supposed to be feeling or not feeling. And I didn't bother looking too hard to ask, other than if the message was at the bottom of the bottle, I'd be an expert, but it's not. So at this point, I have no identity anymore. I have no drive to do anything anymore. All that left, and now, like, I don't even get to see my kid. Like, it is a really dismal feeling. And if any of you can relate to that, I'm sorry. And I will keep you in my prayers, because it sucks. It sucks. It is never a good time. Even if everything goes perfect and you guys like are still best friends and shit and have like joint custody, it's still not fun. It's still not. So anyway, I unfortunately looked for strength and solace other places, chemical places, other human places. None of it worked. All I did was cause more chaos and carnage and hurt people that didn't deserve it. And I didn't know it at the time, but even more importantly, I was hurting myself. I was creating thought processes and patterns in my brain that were going to forever change. Well, not forever, because I'm not the same anymore, but they were going to change the way that I viewed life completely. Some of you may think that's a little bit extreme. It is not. Yeah, it is not. Life really is as good as the lenses that you're looking at it through. Like, you can look at the same thing through two different perspectives and you will evoke two very different feelings, So, that's something else to keep in mind. It's really, is it a fortune or misfortune? Sometimes hard to tell. Sometimes things aren't falling apart, they're falling into place. Like, insert cliche here. So it's again, I really cannot emphasize enough, like, get around some good people and get a higher power. If you're struggling, even if you're not, like, struggle prevention is good. Like, being ready so you don't have to get ready is a real thing, and it will make your life a lot less stressful if you're not having to worry about that all the time. But the support that you hopefully can get from your loved ones is a deal breaker. And what happens if those loved ones are the problem, though? Like, what if you have strained relationships with your parents or your spouse or whatever? Like, again, who and how do you trust? I can't give you 100% correct, concrete answers. I can give you what has worked for me. As I told you guys, like, I just kind of went off the deep end and decided to get a DUI and a divorce and every other thing ending in D, I think, that month. But I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know if I don't really know how to say that. I didn't think that God was mad at me. I thought he'd forgotten about me. Like, when these things started to happen, I thought that either he'd forgotten about me, or I deserved it from stuff I'd done before, or I needed to exist to take punishment so other people could be happy. Like, I really thought those things were true. I didn't know how to be around people even, because I didn't know, like, who or how to trust or how to act anymore. And it wasn't, I got angry with God several times, but God didn't hurt me, man-made stuff and people hurt me. And if you think about it, like, as human beings, we don't know jack shit about pain or suffering if you look at the story of the crucifixion. I mean, that is above and beyond unconditional love and tremendous sacrifice, and all we really have to do is strive for those ideals, the things that Jesus represented. And all he's ever commanded us to do is to love one another the way he loved us. That is really, I think, the only command statement, not the commandments. Like, I command you to do this. He says it twice, in one book, and then he reinforces it by commanding it again in another book that I can't name later. But if Jesus said it more than once, I'm gonna listen, right? I tried very hard after the divorce and everything. Like, there were years where I just lost them. I was just drinking and trying to stay busy and just on cruise control, just floating through life. I was not grounded to anything, nothing. Didn't care about anything or anyone really. Even myself, I did not care. I was developing alcohol-related health problems before I was 30 years old, like pancreatitis, gastritis, like elevated liver enzymes, like not good, dude, not good. It was scary. It was a really scary time. I did not know if I was going to make it. But again, I did it in a way that's more difficult than I needed to. I did it without the help of God. I did it without any help other than some medical intervention. But, I didn't trust that anyone would help me. I felt like everyone was just going to get to know me and leave me. And if I did let them get to know me completely, they were definitely going to leave me. So I had no idea really what to do. Trusting something to me just seemed impossible, but so necessary at the same time. It was like something I didn't want to have anything to do with was something that I desperately needed. And as far as, where I found that, I guess I got lucky with a DUI. I got a nudge from the judge to go to Alcoholics Anonymous in Chico, California. And I went in there and I was 21 years old, and I was basically like in a Charlie Brown episode, listening to the teacher like, wah, 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 wah. That was all I heard. Saw some weird posters on the wall. People were drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes. It's like, okay, this is fucking weird, but all right. And I didn't know really what I was doing there, but I heard a lot about higher power, and I heard a lot about being happy, joyous, and free, and I heard a lot about not having to live the way we were anymore, and that there is a life beyond our wildest dreams out there. And I was just like, okay, yeah, that's why we're all sitting here right now. I was just so close-minded and just, I'm sure some of the old timers just wanted to knock me out and have me taste my teeth. But, they didn't. They loved me until I loved myself. They taught me how to live for someone besides myself, and they brought me back to God, honestly. God brought me to AA, and AA brought me back to God. I don't know which way it went, but they both had a hand in it for sure. Like I was saying, trust it. I still, even when I was going to AA early on, I still didn't have this relationship with God. That didn't happen, like I said, until 2019. And I just didn't have, I don't even think the wherewithal or capacity to even think about having that kind of connection with a power greater than myself. Like, all I was thinking about was drinking and surviving, basically. And it was tough to think about putting all of my faith in one basket, all my eggs in one basket, and just totally trust that basket's not going to break or crack any of my eggs or anything like that. But God is strong enough for anything that you want to stack on him, right? Jesus says, take my yoke, mine is light compared to the burden that you're carrying, talking to us as his children. And he's right. Like, we struggle with things needlessly. We make mountains out of molehills, and then we won't ask for help with them. We don't trust people to help them because they're not going to do it like we're going to do it. It's just not going to be perfect. It's not going to be the way we want it. I'm a control freak, so having faith in something that I can't even see was difficult, to say the least, at first. And really believe it and be proud of it, right? That's another thing. Like, I might be able to say that I believed in God, like, quietly or behind closed doors, but today, like, I will drop to my knees on the sidewalk on the busy street in this town and pray if something good or bad happens that I feel like I need to talk to God about. Don't care, honestly. What people think of me is not my business. I know what works for me, I'm gonna keep doing it. It's not hurting you, don't worry about it. Anyway, trust is such a simple concept, but it's not freaking easy. Having faith in something even more difficult. But it is also, with great risk comes great reward sometimes. You roll the dice and you get this infinite return of grace, love, and forgiveness that is just mind-blowing sometimes. And I don't know if you guys have anyone in your life that unconditionally loves you, but it's priceless. There's just no, at least that's what I hear. There's no matching it. Someone that loves you enough to be like, hey, I love you, but I don't like what you're doing right now. Knock that shit off, and be patient with you, help you grow, help you discover maybe who you are. Like, God is doing all that stuff with us the entire time. Like, if you're anything like me, you just weren't paying attention. He's always been there. He never forgot me. I forgot him. And he wasn't even mad when I went back. So, unconditional love will conquer all. Everything. Even some of the byproducts that we hang on to as we grow into our adult years. Byproducts. Shame, guilt, anger, remorse. We hang on to things. Sometimes we realize it, sometimes we don't. But we only have so much room in our hearts and being for feelings and thoughts and stuff. And if everything that you have is from the past and or negative, you don't have any room to put anything new in. You don't have room for wonder, joy, unconditional love, like anything. You don't have, it's all stocked full with hate, envy, jealousy, greed, and vendettas that you have against people that aren't even in the same city anymore. It's crazy how stressed out we can make ourselves and still be totally resolute in blaming someone else, right? It's just crazy to me, but I know I've done it. Like, I guess it's so shocking to me because I can recognize it, and like seeing it in front of your own eyes when you've been accused of it, it's like, holy shit, is that what they were talking about? Like, it's nuts. But like I said, that limited space in your soul, like, you, whoever you are that I'm pointing at out there, deserve to have good things, not bad things in terms of our emotional feelings. The view you have of yourself should be good. There's nothing wrong with you, right? You are the way that you are for a reason. You were made the way that you are. And if it's a personality thing that's within your control, then fix it. If you want to be better, be better. My little motto, 1% better in some way every day. And it's not my motto, to be honest. My dad has told me that since I was shorter than I am now. So if you do that though, and honestly think of like, what area in my life can I improve today? Something's got to be done. You can always do something. Not every day is going to be, diamonds and rubies and gems and ooh la la, everything's perfect, but a lot of them can be pretty dang good. Some of them can be great. Some of them are still going to suck, but not as bad and not as often. Promise you that. With that limited space, we need to make sure that we're giving ourselves good buffet options to refill it. So your music, your literature, your friends, your television, your hobbies and habits, your work, your thought life. Like, what's your head telling you? Are you thinking hateful shit about people when they cut you off in traffic? Or are you praying for them, hoping they get where they go and don't hurt anyone? Again, two different ways, two different behaviors. There's always two different ways. But if you handle things with love and tolerance and patience, you can never go wrong. That conquers everything. And I am going to find one of the verses that corresponds with that, because I thought it was a really, really good one. And obviously my little tab system is not working as well as I thought it would, but the first one that I want to read to you, this is all from John, and I am going to start actually on John chapter 13, verse 16. I tell you the truth, slaves are not greater than their master, nor is the messenger more important than the ones that sends the message. Okay, so we are all children of God. We are the same in that sense. We are not put on a hierarchical stand of some sort based on what we do for a living or what we look like or any of that shit. We are all the same, all worth the same amount in his eyes. And in reality, sorry, but just because you have a fancy car and some Gucci glasses doesn't mean that you're better than someone that lives under a bridge. It means you paid more for your shit. So, chapter 14, verse 27 of the book of John reads, I am leaving you with a gift, peace of mind and heart. And the peace I give you is a gift the world cannot give. So don't be troubled. Peace of mind. I remember when I found my relationship with God. And up to that point, there had always been this noise in my head, like white noise, just this like static of incomplete thoughts that I try to drown out with chemicals or distract myself from with people and whatever. And there was always just this like inner feeling of angst, like I was going to explode. And I didn't like being in my own skin. And then when I just seriously kneeled down and I gave it all to God, it stopped. And it took me a minute to realize it had stopped, but then I, was like, wait a minute, it's quiet, completely quiet. Like, and I'm okay, like sitting here, what the fuck just happened, And honestly, since then, as long as I am seeking and putting myself in a humble position to receive His will and His message, I will get that peace every time. He's never ever let me down, ever. Now, He's not gonna like grab my shoulders and turn me around if I'm walking the wrong way down the road. He'll watch me fuck up, and then still love me when I come back. But, He will let you make your own mistakes. We do have free will. So anyway, the next love of Christ verse that I want to read here, this is a really cool one that some of you may have heard before. It's a parable. It's called Jesus the True Vine. So this is chapter 15 of the book of John, and it reads, I am the true grapevine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch of mine that does not produce fruit, and He prunes the branches that do bear fruit so they will produce even more. So, God is weeding out the little things in our soul that we don't need, letting us keep the things that we do, and He promises us, remain in me and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me. In me being in the family of God, okay? I've told you these things so that you will be filled with joy. Yes, your joy will overflow. This is my commandment. Love each other in the same way I have loved you. And then He says it again further down the line. So again, He's serious. But anyway, that whole, I guess, mental picture I get of pruning a vine, and just taking your time to snip, and organize and make sure that everything goes the way that it's supposed to go, is a really cool visual for me, I guess. The next verse that I'm going to read you guys is on love in a moment, because there's no way you can be that patient with someone, as patient as God is with me and with us, all of His children that still seek Him, unless you love them unconditionally. And a lot of people nowadays will throw the word love around and use it very, very inappropriately, in my opinion. A lot of people aren't familiar with what sacrifice and love are, but love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice about the injustice, but rejoices whenever truth wins out. Love never gives up. Love never loses faith, is always hopeful, endures through every circumstance. So that's a pretty hefty thumbs up for love. Like I said, it is really the only command that we're given. And, it's not easy all the time to love someone, it takes work, but it's so necessary. Like, human beings, we're just not meant to be without it. And if you're sitting there and you're like, well, I love my mom and dad, I love my sister, I guess, yeah, that's great. Anyone can do that. Love your enemy. Find a reason to love the person that gets under your skin the most. Okay? You don't have to be in love with someone to love them. You guys understand that distinction, right? yeah, it is okay for guys to say I love you to, another friend. It does not mean that there is a preference difference. It just means that they feel for each other, that they would sacrifice for one another and keep each other's secrets and be a good friend, essentially, is all that it means. But a lot of us feel like we don't deserve that, or we can't find that, or it's not available to us for one reason or another. And I just want to let you know, it does not matter how far things have gotten out of control or how badly you think you have fucked the situation up. If you are truly sorry and ask for forgiveness and help, you're gonna get it. Always. Always. I'm not encouraging you to test that and go out and kill a bunch of people, but just know that it doesn't matter. The dirt you've done, the things you've thought, it doesn't matter. What's happened to you, because of you, around you, none of it matters. You have to let it go. That goes back to the whole fixed amount of space to put things in. Those old past experiences, those old past relationships, maybe even those old past associations, they gotta go. They gotta go. If they're not serving you, if they're not doing something for you now, hit the road, Jack. So, knowing that we're forgiven, we have to be honest with God, right? Because He knows us. And if we claim we have no sin, we're only fooling ourselves and not living in the truth, which is also bad news. But if we confess our sins to Him, He is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all our wickedness. If we claim we have not sinned, we are calling God a liar and showing that His word has no place in our hearts. So, confess your sins to your higher power. In Alcoholics Anonymous, they do something in their step work where you write down in a certain format all of the resentments that you have, all of the people that you've hurt, maybe or definitely, all of the people that have hurt you, all of the people that you've had issue with, anything that comes into your mind when you think about interactions you've had over your life. To put all those on paper, and you have to share them with another human being. All of your relationships, everything, okay? And you have to share that with another human being. Hopefully someone that you really trust. It's usually advised you do it with an AA sponsor, but God is begging for it, man. And like I said, anyone can pray when they see the blue and reds in their rear view, or when they're running late to a business meeting and they need every light to be green, or whatever. But where are they when all their needs are met and their kids are healthy and have a great day at school, or they get a promotion at work, and they go out and have a drink? Man, say thank you. You didn't do that. You're just the vessel, We think we own things. Think we own our spouse, our cars, our homes, all this stuff. No, you don't. Well, I paid money for it. That money is made up paper that mankind prints some numbers on. It doesn't mean shit. All those things I listed off are blessings in your life that you have been given to take care of. When you don't take care of them, those blessings will go away. Trust me, I have seen it happen. So, with that all being said, I hope I've given you some thought as to where to place some trust and how to do that, maybe. So again, I really want to emphasize, do not get caught in what you've done or what you think is unforgivable, because it's all forgiven, okay? Do not be negative about yourself, period. Self-deprecating humor is one thing, oh, it's a good thing I'm pretty, ha ha ha. But don't, I'm a fucking loser, god damn, I can't do anything. You gotta know that. I was the worst at that. And it will eventually be what you believe. When we create patterns, it makes tracks in your brain, right? And uncreating, erasing that, and then making a new pattern, difficult to do, but it is possible, okay? Neurological mapping, it's a real deal. You can change the way that you respond to things and to people and situations. But it takes practice, and with that practice, sometimes you need some help, and who better to ask, right? So surround yourself with love and strength. Ask yourself when the last time you went out of your way to help someone, a stranger, was. What do you want to feel like in your heart and in your mind on a daily basis? Does that need to change? Or are you totally at peace and everything's going just gravy? Are you missing something? Like, does it just feel incomplete and you don't know what to fill it with? Do you just feel like angry or lonely or just listless sometimes, just restless? You know, all of these things are signs of a spiritual sickness, right? It's not that you have anxiety. You don't need Xanax. You don't need ADD, ADHD meds. You don't need anything. You already have everything. You just have to figure that out. Reach down in there and pull it back out. It is yours to have and to appreciate whenever you want it. We have the strength of a God that can raise the dead inside of us. We are God's children, right? God raised Jesus from the grave. If so facto, we have that same power within us. So, think about how you can be a little more loving to those around you. Think about how you can be a little more forgiving to those around you. That will help them to foster trust in you. If we want to see things change, we have to be that change. And before I get off topic, I just want to stop right there. So think about that, the things that we've gone over. But most importantly, emptying that tank of old negative stuff, refilling it and surrounding yourself with love and strength. Knowing that no matter what you've done, you're forgiven, and you can be if you ask. And that's never going to change. You know, he loves us as much today as the first day we came into this planet, and he'll love us as much the last day we go out. How much love are you going to give him back? As I said earlier, you can't give away something that you don't possess. How much love do you have to give? You know? And are you giving it away if you have it? Because it doesn't do anyone any good if you hang on to it. So figure out how you can give some love to the world and do it. You can't go wrong when you're trying to handle things with love. You just can't, you know? I can do lots of things wrong under my own good intentions, say that I'm trying to do a good thing and still cause all kinds of problems, sure. But if I'm truly being loving and treating someone the way that I would want to be treated, never let me down yet. And I've had some interesting situations in life and counting. So thank you guys for sitting for 45 minutes almost. I'm rounding up, but those of you that stuck through, I appreciate you. Those of you that didn't stick through, I still appreciate you. But I hope that there are some comments in the comment area. I hope that you will consider subscribing to my channel for future videos. I am always open to suggestions on content. This channel is pretty varied as far as that content, but like I said, always take suggestions. So God bless, stay swell, stay swole, be a good human, help another human, and I will see you next time back here on the HPP.